Dickus.
In Beautiful Girls, when Timothy Hutton says goodbye to Natalie Portman in the final scene, he gives her an unexpected kiss on the cheek. This moment wasn't in the script, making Portman's reaction completely genuine. In The Godfather, Marlon Brando's Don Corleone was supposed to deliver his chilling monologue without any distractions, but then, a stray cat wandered onto the set. Instead of shooing it away, Brando picked it up and started stroking it like a true mafia boss. Director Francis Ford Coppola loved it and kept it in the final cut. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indiana Jones was supposed to have an intense sword fight with a skilled enemy, but there was one problem. Harrison Ford had food poisoning and was in no mood for a choreographed duel, so instead of swinging his whip, he just pulled out his gun and shot the guy. In Jaws, Chief Brody wasn't supposed to deliver a one-liner after seeing the massive shark, but when he backed away in shock, he muttered,
"You're gonna need a bigger boat."
The line was completely off script, and director Steven Spielberg liked it so much he kept it in. In Midnight Cowboy, Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight were filming on a real New York street when a taxi ran a red light and nearly hit them. Without breaking character, Hoffman slammed his hand on the hood and yelled, "Walking here!" The driver, by the way, was not an actor, he was just a confused cab driver, caught in the middle of a classic movie moment. Walking here! In The Shining, Jack Nicholson's iconic "Here's Johnny" line wasn't scripted. It was a spontaneous reference to The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Director Stanley Kubrick, who wasn't familiar with the show, nearly cut the line. But once he saw how chillingly perfect it was, he realized they had captured something truly unforgettable.
Here's Johnny!
In Rocky, Sylvester Stallone's iconic training montage wasn't filmed on a closed set. He was actually running through the real streets of Philadelphia. The vendor who tossed him an orange was just a regular guy going about his day. In Joker, the moment Arthur smashes the clocking in machine wasn't in the script. Lee Gill, who plays Gary, revealed in an interview that during one take, Joaquin Phoenix suddenly joked about punching out, then actually sent the machine flying off the wall.
I forgot to punch out.
In Goodfellas, Joe Pesci's funny how scene wasn't in the script. He had heard a similar story from a real mobster and decided to drop it into the scene. None of the other actors knew what was coming, which is why their nervous laughter and uncomfortable reactions are completely real.
Tell me what's funny.
Get the fuck out of here, tell me.
In Taxi Driver, Robert De Niro was meant to talk to himself in front of a mirror. Instead, he muttered,
"You talking to me?"
while pointing his gun at his reflection. Martin Scorsese loved it, and it became one of the most quoted moments in film history.
"I'm standing here. You make the move."
In The Usual Suspects, the lineup scene was supposed to be serious, but the actors kept cracking up. The director finally gave up and left the laughter in, making the scene even funnier than originally intended. In Ghostbusters, when Bill Murray got slimed, his disgusted reaction wasn't acting. He really wasn't expecting that much slime.
He slimed me.
That's great! Actual physical contact!
In Titanic, Kate Winslet came up with the idea for Rose to spit in Billy Zane's face instead of jabbing him with a hairpin. Zane wasn't warned, so his reaction is real.
Hello!
In Mrs. Doubtfire, Robin Williams smashes his face into a cake to hide his disguise, but the melting frosting wasn't planned. The set lights made it drip, and Williams rolled with it, turning an accident into comedy gold.
Oh, there you go. You've got your cream and your sugar now. It's a little cappuccino.
In The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's slow clap in the jail scene wasn't in the script. When Gordon gets promoted, the Joker starts clapping slowly, mockingly, but that wasn't planned. Ledger just stayed in character and went for it, making the scene way more unsettling. In Monty Python's Life of Brian, the extras in the Biggest Dickus scene were told to keep straight faces or they'd be fired.
A great friend in Rome called Biggest Dickus.
But Michael Palin pushed the joke to the extreme, and the result was one of the funniest moments in the film.
Dickus?
In Good Will Hunting, Robin Williams' story about his wife farting in her sleep was completely improvised. Matt Damon's laughter was genuine, and even the cameraman was shaking because he was laughing so hard.
The fart in the sleep. I'm sorry I shared that.
In Heat, the iconic coffee shop conversation between Robert De Niro and Al Pacino was almost entirely improvised, making their exchange feel even more real and intense.
I do what I do best. I take scores. You do what you do best, trying to stop guys like me.
In Friends, when Chandler gets his hand stuck in Rachel's filing cabinet and accidentally hits his head on it, his reaction was completely improvised.
Would you please just...
In The Naked Gun, after Barbara Bush hits her head on a table, Richard Griffiths covers his mouth and turns away because he's laughing. They left it in, making the moment even funnier. In Secretary, when Maggie Gyllenhaal instinctively smiles after James Spader scolds her, it wasn't in the script. Spader stayed in character, making the moment feel even more authentic, so they left it in the final cut. In Pretty Woman, Richard Gere was supposed to smoothly hand Julia Roberts the necklace. At the last second, he snapped the box shut, catching her off guard. That laugh was completely real. The director loved it, and now it's one of the most iconic moments in the film. In Stripes, the scene where Bill Murray hits himself in the crotch while loading a rich woman's suitcases was an accident. Murray really did hit himself, and his line,
Oh, my balls. Oh, my balls.
was his genuine reaction. In Me, Myself, and Irene, when Charlie and Irene are pushing the car off the cliff, Carrie ad-libbed by saying, "on 9, and quickly counts to 9.
On 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Renee Zellweger looks obviously surprised in the take, making the scene even funnier. In Follow That Camel, the scene where Bo gets his leg caught in the camel's harness and Simpson shoos it with his umbrella, was improvised by Peter Butterworth, who saw a perfect chance for comedy.
Damn it, I'll never get used to that!
In American Beauty, there's a scene that became unexpectedly intense. Kevin Spacey was scripted to drop a dinner plate onto the floor, but instead, he forcefully hurled it against the wall. The sudden impact caught Thora Birch completely off guard.
Don't interrupt me, honey.
In It's a Wonderful Life, when Uncle Billy drunkenly stumbles past George, a loud crash is heard off screen, followed by the actor shouting, "I'm all right, I'm all right." But that moment wasn't scripted. The noise came from a crew member accidentally knocking over a pile of props. Fearing he had ruined the take and would be fired, he was instead rewarded by director Frank Capra, who loved how it made the scene feel even more real. In The Martian, when Donald Glover's character first came up with his idea to rescue Watney, he slipped and fell in his office. That was a genuine accident, but it fit his character so well that director Ridley Scott kept it in.
Are you all right? It's fine.
In Friends, Ross's iconic bagpipe performance was not filmed in one simple take. It was quite challenging for the cast to maintain a straight face, especially once Phoebe started singing along in the live episode. In Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home, the cop staring suspiciously at Uhura and Chekhov is a real San Francisco cop who had no idea what was going on.
Wessels.